Hello and a very good evening to all the MBA aspirants. I welcome you to today's live session where I am going to discuss one of the most important topics that you see not just in your CAT exam but the other non-CAT exams also. And the topic is para summary. So in this session, I will be discussing with you what is the relevance of this area in the verbal ability section and how to score good in this particular area. I know a lot of students who goes for these three questions in the CAT exam and they pretty much end up answering all the three questions correctly. So for that, it's very important that we know the tips and tricks to deal with this particular area. So I will quickly discuss all the question types with you that you see in the CAT exam, and then we will see how come this particular area is more scoring. So let's start with the session without any further ado. And meanwhile, if you guys have any doubts and any suggestions, you can write it in the chat box. And when we will be doing the practice question, I really want you all to be answering all the questions, just to test yourself how much you are able to do this particular area. Right, so if I talk about the time management and how important accuracy is for the CAT exam, let me quickly tell you what all question types do you get in verbal ability and reading comprehension section. You can see, you can divide it into two parts. First is the verbal ability, second is reading comprehension. So they used this term RC in their section, which means yes, RC is very important. So first is reading comprehension, from which you get 16 questions. In total, you will have 24 questions of this area, for which you get a time of 40 minutes. Out of 24, 16 are from reading comprehension itself. Then second is parajumbles, from which you will get 3 questions. Third question type is either SR or sentence placement. Now you must be wondering why these two choices. So it was only last year that we saw questions based on sentence placement. Before this we used to get misfit questions. So for this one, sentence rearrangement, rather it should be misfit. Okay. So before last year, you used to get jumbled sentences. You had to read them all, make a coherent story out of it after arranging them into the right order, and then you were supposed to find out one option which doesn't gel well with the rest of the option, doesn't go with the rest of the option. And if you remove that sentence, the sense of the whole passage won't be distorted. This was before last year. But in 2022, in the CAT exam, the kind of question that we got were based on sentence placement, wherein a sentence was given to you in the question itself, followed by a paragraph with 3 to 4 blanks at different places, named A, B, C and D. You were supposed to find the right place where you can fit that sentence in the paragraph without distorting its sense or without distorting its coherence. Right, pretty much the same. If you see, one thing is common in all the questions, they test your understanding, your comprehension power, your aptitude basically. So this one thing was common. 2 questions from this. This year we do not know if it will be a misfit question or a sentence placement question, but no matter what, if you are good at comprehension, you'll pretty much manage it. The fourth question type is our para-summary questions that we are going to discuss today. So 3 questions from this. Now, before we move on to this area, these are the 5 theta questions. Type in typable answer, wherein there are no options given to you. You will be given a box like this and you're supposed to write your answer here, type your answer here. For example, the sequence is B, E, A, C, D. So you'll have to literally type the response. Now because there is no option for these 5 questions, there is no negative marking for these 5 questions. But keep this in mind, the paper is about time and about accuracy. Let's say if you take 10 minutes to do one RC and it will be 40 minutes to do all the RCs. So see, the time limit is gone. When will we touch these 3 areas? So you'll have to strategize after giving various marks and after using different strategies, that you want to do 3 passages first, then you want to move on to the misfit question, then on the parasummary questions, or you want to go for the sentence rearrangement question because there is no negative marking, and at least you are sure that if your answer is not correct, you won't at least be getting a negative mark. But you will be losing a lot of time. Time is the key here. So this is the reason I told you this particular area wherein you are given option. You just have to read a short paragraph and then summarize it in your own words. So if I have to simplify what parasummary is, a paragraph is given to you. Let's say I narrate you an event, a situation or a story, and then I ask you, can you now justify this in one sentence, in one statement? If you can do that, that will be your parasummary answer. Basically, crux or the focal point of the whole passage is known as parasummary. What does the author want to convey throughout that passage? He has given you a lot of information, a lot of example, he's given facts and data also. Why giving all this information in the passage? Because author wants to convince you for something. You have to find that main idea or the crux or the focal point of the whole passage. That will be your parasummary. Same goes for the paragraphs also. So just as in a situation you can justify it in one statement, you can do that with paragraphs also. Now we will do it with some of the practice questions. I hope there is no doubt regarding these question types. So there we go, the first passage. Now quick tips and tricks before we start it. Whenever you read any such passage, no matter how lengthy or short it is, try to get the crux of it. Just see the keywords and see why is he giving so much of information or so many examples, what does he want to convey. Try doing this one. Let me give you 10 seconds to quickly read it and then I'll read it for you. And drop in your answers, everyone. Once I'll show you the options. So you will see this area is not that difficult and is highly scoring. It becomes easy when you have options with you. Right, so let me just quickly read it for you. When tales of artist struggle are rooted in the experience of individual artists or bands, the public response is often to push back and discredit, to find fault in the story or suggest the individual is not a credible spokesperson for the problem he or she is articulating. So do you see that if from a community, one band or one artist, he tells about his tale and why did he fail in a particular thing, people don't sympathize with that person. Rather, they say there must have been some weakness on his part, so we cannot say it for the whole community. This is what people's response is. But debating the extent to which individual artists do or do not struggle financially is pointless. These are the words of the author. He is saying that debating about this thing is pointless and fails to address why artists struggle. So this is a broader perspective he is adopting. What lessons might be learned from their stories and what solutions might be developed. So before explaining this, I want to see what have you gathered from this paragraph. What is the author trying to say here? What is the main idea? What kind of tone is he using? Is he pro-artist or is he against the artist? Is he justifying these individual bands that they say they had financial problems and so, that is the reason they could not be successful? Is he favoring them or not? That is the point. So your complete comprehension is checked through these questions as well. There you go. The options are in front of you. Feel free to select one that you believe should be the right summary. Let us see who's going to be the first one to answer this question. Let's read all the options and see what is the difference between these four options. By placing the focus on the individual artist rather than the struggles of the community at large, possible solutions to problems of artists are undermined. Second one, by placing the focus on the individual. So you people can see one thing, the beginning of each and every option is same. So it means you'll have to focus on the second part of all the options. That is going to give you your right answer. Let's read the rest of them. By placing the focus on the individual artist rather than the struggles of the community at large, possible solution to problems of artists are obfuscated. By placing the focus on the individual artist rather than the struggles of the community at large, look at this, completely same language. So you people can see one thing, if I have to mark, the role here is of these words that I'm underlining. So if you know the meaning of these words, you will be able to choose the right answer. And wonderful, we have our first answer from Aisha. Good effort, Aisha, very nice. What about the rest of you? So you can see it's the role of the words. Let's discuss these words quickly. So if I talk about the first one, undermined. So he is saying that the real struggle that is faced by these artist community is undermined, is underestimated, not taken seriously. So do you think that yes, author's tone is in sync with this word, or is he more towards this word? Obfuscated is to make obscure or make it more confusing. So do you believe that by placing focus on the individual, we obfuscate the larger scenario, the broader scenario? Does this word even fit with the context? Actually, not really. So this word, he did not say that we are confusing people, right? By placing the focus on the individual's artist and rather than the struggles of the community, possible solution to the problem of the artists are forestalled. Forestalled is when you guess some future events and you try to hinder those events. So preventing something well before the time. This is out of context. Author did not give us any solution actually that you should be hindering it or you should be preventing these problems to the artists and their community. So this word is out of context. By placing the focus on individual, okay, miscalculated, as in people fail to calculate how much of struggle the individual and the artist band go through. Miscalculated. In a way, this can be the answer. Now, do you see one thing? The passage was relatively simple, but the option choices are so close. This is what CAT exam does with us. So most of the option choices will be very close. You'll have to, it will, as in there are no individual vocabulary or grammar questions in the CAT exam, but all the vocabulary will be tested in this way only. Right, so here the right answer will be A. Now, going back to the passage, what was he saying? The author was saying that you shouldn't be focusing that an individual or an individual group is just making excuses of its failures. It can be excuse of finances or anything. He was saying that we shouldn't be focusing on this thing. Rather, we should be focusing on why do artists have to struggle? What are the things that are hindrance in their success? Why do they even have to go through the struggle? So the right answer is that possible solutions to the problems of the artists are undermined, and rather we blame them for their failures. We don't try to understand that. We underestimate the struggles they go through. So the right answer will be first one. And let us see, there was one more response. Very nice, Aisha. Wonderful. So these questions, with practice, you'll get to know how to answer these questions. Moving on to the second one. Let's see how you perform in this one. Let me quickly read the passage for you. Effective altruism is based. Altruism is when you're benevolent, when you try to help other people, the general, you can say, helping towards the community or people or to anyone and everyone, irrespective of the caste, creed or anything. So benevolence, you can say, helping people, reaching out. So effective altruism is based on a very simple idea. Now these are author's word. You have to focus on the paragraph. What idea is he talking about here? We should do the most good we can. So generally we base altruism on this, that whatever is in your power, you should be doing everything to be an altruist. Obeying the usual rules about not stealing, cheating, hurting and killing is not enough. So this is what we usually believe, that see, I am good, I know about my life and my good deeds, I am sitting at my home, I'm not hurting anyone, I am not cheating anyone and all that, so I am an altruist. No, that's not enough. That is what author is saying. Or at least not enough for those of us who have the good fortune to live in material comfort, who can feed, house and clothe ourselves and our families and still have money or time to spare. Now think about these people who are already from well-to-do background. They don't need to cheat, they don't need to steal. So are they all altruist? So this is what author is saying here. Living a minimally acceptable ethical life involves using a substantial part of our spare resources to make the world a better place. Living a fully ethical life involves doing the most good we can. So this phrase that he used initially also, he tried to explain it in his terms, that what living an ethical life is, what being an altruist is. Let us see how much you have understood or communicated with the author through the options. So how can we summary this particular passage? How can we find out the summary to this? Let us see who's going to answer this one. Right, so let me quickly read the options with you, and if you want to read it on your own, you may pause the video for a while. The delivery of maximum good to maximum possible people forms the cornerstone of the ethical altruism. Is that true? So ethical altruism is based on the delivery of maximum good that is allowed by a person's situation and not merely exceeding to the minimum requirements of an ethical life, ascetic. Ethical altruism is based on the collective good of society, where one goes out of one's way to help others and one does not regard any constraints in that. So helping the society. And the last one says, ethical altruism is truly possible where we are able to rise above our material comfort and think about the benefits of others before our benefit. So if you can notice, the last one is too general in the sense. First of all, he is talking about material comfort. The examiner will pick phrases from the passage and he'll put it in the option just to confuse you so that you fall for those options. So yes, he did talk about the material comfort, but was the material comfort the focus point of the passage? That was merely a phrase used in one of the lines of the passage. Rather, the focus was on the ethical deeds a person does and how much he can help others, how much he can use his spare resources. The author isn't saying that you should be neglecting yourself or your needs to help the others. No, he himself said in the passage that whatever spare resources you have, you should equally distribute it to the needy people. Now tell me which one should be the right answer. I can see a response again from Aisha. Aisha, okay, A. Let us see all the options. Nice try. The delivery of maximum good to the maximum possible people forms the cornerstone of the ethical altruism. So when we say maximum possible, maximum good to the maximum people, we are talking in a way in very vague terms. Though this is not wrong, most of the options in the para summary question will not be wrong, but you will have to go with one such option which is broader in its aspect and it can take most of the things in itself which were discussed in the passage. Answer here will be second one. Ethical altruism is based on the delivery of maximum good that is allowed by a person's situation. Did he not say that you should be using your spare resources to help people? So whatever you are allowed to do, no matter if you come from a humble background or an affluent background, you should help people accordingly. So this is the key here that makes the second one the right answer. And not merely acceding to the minimum requirements of an ethical life. Acceding is accepting. So simply accepting a humble life is not being altruist. You'll have to reach out and help people, right? So B is the right answer. Let's see what was wrong with the C. A is also correct, I'm saying it again, but it's not as broad as the second one is, because second one discusses, or you can say justifies, the whole passage. Ethical altruism is based on the collective good of the society. Isn't this a novel idea which was not talked in the passage? We did not talk about the collective good of the society. Rather, it was all on the part of the altruist. So we can eliminate this one because this becomes a little out of the context. I hope this one is also clear. Let's move on to the last question for today. Okay, zooplanktons, tiny animals adapted to an existence in the ocean. So this is related to the marine life. So they are talking about the zooplanktons in the ocean have evolved clever mechanisms. So these zooplanktons have evolved a clever mechanism to survive in the ocean. Let us see what is that clever mechanism. For obtaining their food, a very specialized feeding adaptation in zooplankton is that of the tadpole-like appendicularian who lives in a walnut size. So this is again some marine animal. When you see words like this, do not worry and do not get confused that this is going to be a very difficult passage. I know there can be some jargon from biology or names of some organism that we do not know, but we can understand the context through the passage. So let's move forward with this positive approach. So let us see how zooplanktons take help of these marine animals. Appendicularian, who lives in a walnut-sized balloon of mucus equipped with filters that capture and concentrate phytoplanktons. The balloon, a transparent structure that varies in design according to the type of appendicularian inhabiting it, also protects the animal and helps to keep it afloat. So basically these animals, they stick to the zooplanktons, and through this the zooplanktons take the, let's say, nutrients from these appendicularian, and then further mechanism of the appendicularian and its filter like structures to, you know, have it to feed on to things and to digest things is further explained. Now this is all external information, don't fall for this. Water containing phytoplankton is pumped by the appendicularian's muscular tail into the balloons in current filters, passes through the feeding filter where appendicularian sucks the food into its mouth, and then goes through an exit passage. So do you see that? This is, you can say, parasite and the host. They both take help from each other. Not actually parasite and host. They in a way have this mutual relation that they help each other. The zooplanktons help the appendicularian to stay afloat, and the appendicularian sucks water from zooplanktons. In return, zooplanktons takes the necessary nutrients, you can say. Okay, so I hope this one is clear, and I hope it hasn't messed up your mind that what are they talking about here. It's very simple. And this is one of the most wonderful questions in today's class. Which of the following best summarizes the above paragraph? Let's see if you'll be able to select the right one. Yes, Aisha, you want to try your luck in this one? Okay, let's read all the options quickly. First one is the balloon's importance in flotation for the appendicularians for whom staying close to the surface is important. Was the passage focusing only on this? Is this option anywhere talking about the zooplanktons with which we started the passage? The second is the rudimentary elementary canal of the appendicularians forces it to innovate by using balloons which carry out some of the functions of the digestive tract. Was this the focus of the passage? And the last one is appendicularian's feeding mechanism is quite unique because of the balloon and its filters. And fourth one is the role of the tail in pushing phytoplanktons into the appendicularian's balloon. It seems as if the last one is incomplete. Is it even telling us how they help each other, or how do the appendicularians survive there, or how do they feed or digest their food? Which one should be the answer for this? Very nice, Aisha. Absolutely right. The answer should be third one. Appendicularian's feeding mechanism is quite unique because of the balloon and its filter. As simple as that. So here they've talked about the digestive tract, and this wasn't discussed actually in the passage. These words, these phrases were not used. So this is a little far-fetched in that way. We can eliminate this one. Here it's just talking about the importance of flotation. It's not just the flotation, it's about feeding. So we can eliminate this one also. And last one, it seems incomplete because it's not explaining that what was the focus of the author. So answer is third one. Now, coming to the same point, when I said that you have to para-summarize a particular passage, always keep this in mind. If the author has given you too much of information or explanation, examples and facts, don't fall for those because they are further to reinforce the main idea. But what is the main idea? The main idea is author is amazed by this unique quality of the appendicularians, how they feed. So they use a very different kind of mechanism. That's it. That's the main idea. The rest of it is just an explanation of the same thing, right? So this one is more general, more broad in its terms, and this encapsulates the essence of the whole passage in a very appropriate way. I hope the para-summary questions are clear to you. If you want to have more such classes, stay updated with our channel. If you liked the video and if you want us to come up with more such videos related to the CAT exam and the non-CAT exam questions, do not forget to like, share and subscribe our channel. Thank you so much. All the very best for your preparation.